Hey friends, welcome to today's video. I'm hopping in here real quick because I think I'm going to end up kind of, I don't want to say like narrating, but doing a little bit of a different feel for this video because I filmed, but then it ended up being broken up and I didn't really have it all put together. So I'm going to just put it together now while I'm editing it. But I have a grocery haul, like a stock up grocery haul. I have a really great pumpkin bread recipe to share with you and a delicious soup. We have never made it before, and I feel like it's going to be my go-to now. Wind chimes have been going nuts for about 3 days due to like hurricane winds, I'm assuming is what it's from. I mean, we're not getting the hurricane, but I'm assuming that's why. And I am sitting down with a cup of, well, you can't see it, but I do have a cup of pumpkin spice tea. I picked this up recently from TJ Maxx. I love getting my tea from either like TJ Maxx or Marshall's. Anyway, so we're gonna get started in with the grocery haul and then I'll pop back in and talk about what's next. We're gonna kind of do it like that today because I just kind of fell off the bandwagon with the filming, but then I did film these different things over a couple of days and it was stuff that I really wanted to share with you. So I hope that you enjoy this different type of video. Let's get to the grocery haul. I unintentionally ended up doing a big stock up. It's a big stock up for, we're talking about 2 people. Mostly pantry items is what I stocked up on. Let me show you what I got. This is backwards. I went to a few stores. I went to Walmart and I got some beef broth. So 4 beef broths, 2 chicken broths. I do have some at home already. And then I got 6 cans of corn. This is inspired by, you know, fall, winter foods that I'm wanting to stock up stuff on. And stock stuff, I don't think that made sense, but I think you probably understood what I meant. I got a couple of these tomato soups. We really enjoy this. And this is kind of a default if I don't have a plan on a weekend, tomato soup and grilled cheese. And this is really good tomato soup. I picked up some Dawn dish soap. That is not for dishes. I do not like to use that for dishes. I used to like to use unscented, but for laundry and cleaning like my shower or sinks. But this is, I make like a vinegar Dawn combo thing, but also for treating stains on shirts. It works great. Some witch hazel. This is a toner I use on my face. I also use it to make bug spray, and I got 2 because I never can remember where to find it. And so I was like, I'm just going to buy 2. Then I won't have to get it for a while. And when I do make bug spray, I go through it pretty quick. I picked up some baby wipes. This is actually for my crafting. I like to keep those up in my craft space. I picked up a couple of scrub brushes because I needed some, because I got some scrubbing to do. And then I picked up these. These are in the travel section. Recently, a small container I had that I usually keep my supplements in broke, and I found this 2-pack and it was only $1. I have like bigger ones for traveling, but like sometimes if I'm just gone for the day, and some supplements I take a couple times a day, so I like to bring them with me, like so I can take it after I eat something or whatever. So anyways, I was glad to find that. Also from Walmart, I picked up tomatoes, carrots, lettuce, and a cucumber. That's what that is. And a lunch pail. I'm going to see if this will work good for my husband. It opens, I just like the way it opens. It opens large. He doesn't usually pack a lunch, but he'll bring drinks and fruit sometimes with him when because he's in the car like all day for work. So he has one, but it's just kind of awkward to get into. And I thought this would be a lot easier to like get into since he's usually doing it while he's driving. Plus we will take this with us on an upcoming trip. So anyways, we'll see if he likes that one. If not, I'll get something different. Went to Sam's Club mainly for this because this is dinner tonight. And then I got some orange juice, some frozen broccoli. I usually get it at Aldi, but I actually had to return a few bags because they were all bad. I had opened it. It was bad. And so I opened up the other ones I had purchased. They were all bad. I returned them, got my money back. And I'm going to just wait in case there was like an issue with it. Just let it kind of cycle through before I buy them there again. So I got this from Sam's Club, the real bacon pieces. And then the rest is from Aldi. I got some of these little bite-sized potatoes. This is going to be with dinner tonight. Maybe, I don't know if I'm going to just roast them or smash potatoes or what. And I think I'm going to do broccoli or maybe salad. I don't know. I got some flour tortillas, the big ones for burritos, just because we're running low. I like to keep them on hand because tacos is like a good last-minute go-to. Picked up some more sourdough bread. I've said this before, I just freeze it because it takes me a little while to use it, but it freezes great. Sour cream, because we're all out and we use it all the time. Pineapple juice and almond milk. I like to mix my pineapple juice with the orange juice for breakfast. It's so good. This I got, honestly, because it was $1 off. And so it was only 85 cents. So I think we're just going to add that with dinner tonight. And obviously beyond, because we won't eat that whole thing tonight. Continuing over here, I also got some grapes, a couple bags of tortilla chips. I got the regular rounds and the blue corn, which is what I used to always get, and I kind of miss them, so got that. Some cinnamon bun granola seemed fun to try. More pantry things, refried beans, a few cans of those, some pumpkin because 'tis the season. I recently made a double batch of taco seasoning and used up a lot of my spices, so I got some more there. I try to, if it's something I go through fairly frequently, I like to always have a backup. So like crushed red pepper flakes, you don't use a lot in a recipe, so like that lasts longer, although I do need to put those on my list soon. But anyways, once I open up the backups, I get more, is kind of how I do it. Same thing with my plastic wrap, I just opened up my backup, so I got another one for the pantry. And don't look at my couches, because I didn't put the blankets away. So that is what I got. I'm going to be kind of slowly doing a stock up. At some point, I'll do a freezer stock up. But yeah, I got a good bit of pantry stuff. And then dinner for tonight, because I like something easy on my grocery day. All right, so now I'm going to move on to this pumpkin bread recipe. It was so good, but I kind of put off making it. So by the time I got started, it was 9 p.m. and we were watching stuff, and I didn't want to disrupt just like our chill time. I was like, I will do a voiceover. So that's what we're gonna do. Start by preheating the oven to 350 degrees. And I kind of had forced myself into making this because I had already taken the butter out to soften. So I had half a cup of unsalted butter and a cup of dark brown sugar and blending that together until it is nice and creamy. I don't know about you, but I really do genuinely like pumpkin and pumpkin spice, not just because of the hype of the season. I really like it. So I'm always looking for new recipes to try. Once the brown sugar and the butter are all combined, I'm gonna add in 1 cup of pumpkin puree. It does, the recipe did say, I think, to like mix things in as you went. So I'm going to do that. I wanted to make this bread. The main reason was because sometimes Sundays are super, super early mornings for us. And I like to have something that I can grab on my way out the door because I'm not hungry in the morning when we leave because it's so early, but I usually am hungry well before we get home. And we have a lot of driving, like a long drive to church and stuff. So I have a chance to eat it later. So that's why I wanted to make this. I made some pumpkin muffins recently. I will have that video linked for you. That was so good as well. Now I wanted to try something different. So I made this bread, gonna add in 2 eggs and combine that. And then we're gonna add in a 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I am just gonna scrape the bowl here, make sure we get everything mixed. I believe the recipe said something about like making sure you do not overmix, although it did want you to mix in between. I'm thinking the overmixing concern comes in once you're adding the flour. So I'm also adding in, I guess before I did the flour, I did 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. Then 1 teaspoon each of baking soda, baking powder, and salt. And then I go ahead and add in the 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I will have the recipe linked down below for you, so it's not like you have to try to write it down as we go, but it's got all of the things, all of the good flavors. This is so good. While I'm mixing that all up, I just thought I would also mention that if you are new here, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. I've been on YouTube for a few years and I have like a crafting channel and I've had another lifestyle channel, but I decided to start from scratch. So it would help me out so much if you would subscribe. Also give this video a thumbs up, say hello in the comments, even if it's just leaving me an emoji. Just help push out my video in the YouTube algorithm. But I enjoy sharing lifestyle content here on this channel. So whether it's cooking, recipes, shopping, decorating, that kind of thing, that's what I share here. So if you think you might be interested, just subscribe, even for now. If you unsubscribe later, I hope you don't, but I won't know that you specifically unsubscribed. So subscribe for a little bit, see if you like my content. I hope that you choose to stick around. So once I had the bread all mixed together,
I am just putting it into a bread pan and lined it with parchment paper. And then we're gonna make our streusel topping. This is a very thick bread. And so I'm just going to spread it out. And then I am gonna trim off with some kitchen scissors the extra parchment paper because I didn't want it to burn in the oven. Now, one thing to remember is that glass bakeware does usually take longer to bake in the oven. So I did have to bake a little bit longer than the recipe is stated. For our streusel topping, I had 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So yes, there's a lot of butter. There's almost 3 sticks. Is that correct? Is that right? Or no, almost 2 sticks. Almost 2 sticks, but 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter and then 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And I'm just going to mix that all together, and along with a 1/2 cup of brown sugar and a 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, or you can use ground cinnamon. And then we're gonna put this on top. It said to like clump it on top, and I was like, are you kidding me? There is so much streusel topping. I'm just going to spread this out, and I kind of pressed it in so that it wouldn't all crumble off. Now this recipe also has a maple glaze, which I ended up not making, although it sounds amazing. But I'm always trying to cut back on sugar a little bit here and there. Sometimes I won't even put the full measurement for things if I don't think it quite needs it. So I decided to skip that. I think the maple glaze would be amazing, but I chose to skip that. So the bread was so good. It did take longer. The recipe said 55 to 60 minutes. I believe mine took about 70 or 75 minutes, but I'm pretty sure that's just because it was in a glass pan. And this was so good. I will have that recipe linked down below. My husband and I have been thoroughly enjoying it, whether it's for breakfast or a snack in the afternoon or an evening snack. So that is the pumpkin bread recipe, I should say. Highly recommend it. Now we're gonna move into a soup recipe, a chicken potato soup recipe that is so good. I might be throwing out my other soup recipe that's kind of like my default, that I don't actually follow a recipe, but it's what I do all the time. I think I'm gonna take things that I did in this soup and add it to what I've been doing. This was so good. So let's go to the soup. If you're looking for a cozy soup recipe, this is it.
I'm making a potato chicken soup, I think it's called. I'll have it linked for you. I am doing it a bit different. Starting with, I'm not cooking bacon. I'm gonna use cooked bacon pieces, but I do have bacon grease. And I am going to cook the veggies in that. I might need more than that. I'm also gonna cook my chicken separately. It says to sear it in a pan and then you just let it finish cooking in the soup. I'm not gonna do it like that. I don't know why, I just don't like that idea. So anyways, I think this recipe is gonna be pretty good though. And I'm in the mood for a soup, got some rainy days, but we have a very busy day. And so it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I am making this now so that it can cool, so that I can refrigerate it and we will eat it later, because we're probably gonna be eating dinner around like 11 o'clock at night, which is not ideal, but it's what's happening. So I'm gonna let this bacon grease melt. But if you were making bacon, you could just use the bacon grease from that bacon. If you don't have any bacon grease, you can just use butter. It's starting to sizzle. I'm gonna add in onion and celery, diced up really small, and carrots. I'm gonna do my onion and celery first, just because I like them cooked even more. And I might actually cut up another carrot. I'm not sure if that's enough for me. Bacon, onions, and celery, like already it smells amazing. I did do a little more carrot. I always like to add in more veggies when I can. And I don't know that I have the right amount of potatoes for this recipe. I'm not sure, so. One thing I love about making soups is just the whole process smells so good. All right, I'm gonna give that a few minutes and get these carrots tender. All right, we're gonna add in some garlic. I never buy fresh garlic. I like fresh garlic, but you know, I just don't always end up using it in time, so I go with the jarred. About a teaspoon of hot sauce. According to the recipe, this doesn't make it spicy, just gives some flavor. Teaspoon of Worcestershire. My dishwasher just kicked into another phase of the cleaning, so if that gets loud, sorry. I'm gonna add in a teaspoon of parsley, and then one thing I am skipping, needs a half a teaspoon of rosemary or oregano and dried mustard. And I do not have any dried mustard, but I did just add that to my list because my grocery list, because I feel like there's been a couple times lately where I've had a recipe that's called for it and I didn't have any. A pinch of red pepper flakes. I'm gonna do a little more than a pinch because we do like that. And there is no salt called for, which I feel like is wrong. So I'm going to add some salt. About a teaspoon of salt. And you can add pepper. I never add black pepper to my recipes. If you've been watching me, maybe you've noticed that I'm not a fan of black pepper. I always, my husband adds it to his dish, but I do not like black pepper. I probably wouldn't mind in a recipe like this because it's so blended in with everything else, but I just don't care for it. So I omit it and everything tastes fine to me. All right, now we're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of flour. And we're gonna let that cook for about 5 minutes, just stirring that, cook off the flour. I have never made this soup before, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I have, it is saved on my Pinterest board, but there's a lot of recipes that are saved that, I've not actually made. I don't know, it says to cook for 5 minutes. I feel like it's gonna make a mess at the bottom of the pan if I do that. So I'm gonna just let it go for another few seconds while I put some things away. All right, we need a total of 5 cups of chicken broth. I'm gonna do just a little bit at the beginning so I can just clean off the bottom. I am doing 3 cups of like carton store-bought, and then I had 2 cups in the freezer, and I think that's the rest of my chicken broth, but I've had some in there for a while and I just needed to like clear out space. So I'm gonna use that up and then the rest will be carton. But the stuff from the freezer is pretty much thawed, but it's still quite cold. So I was like, I'm going to start with this because it's not cold. So I don't completely bring the temperature down. I am gonna bring this temperature of the burner up a little bit. It's a little icy, but that is my homemade stuff. All right, because I put cold stuff in, I'm just gonna let this warm up. The recipe calls for a cup of half and half, I think. Yeah, I don't have any half and half. I don't have any heavy cream. It says instead of any dairy, you could also just use more chicken broth. I have softened some cream cheese because I think it'll just make it creamy. And so, I don't know. We'll see. That looks pretty soft. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna do just a little at a time. It'll take a little longer to like work it in. Actually, it might be easier if I like smash out the cubes here and then just dollop it in. I'll be back when I have all of this cream cheese incorporated. I've been gently whisking and I got most of the cream cheese clumps. I'm not super worried about it, but we're gonna get the chicken in the oven really quick. I decided to do it that way. I am using thin chicken breast because that's what I had. As you can see, the 2 on the either end are extremely small, so I'll probably have to pull them sooner. But I just seasoned with some salt, garlic powder, and onion powder, and I'm just going to bake those. That is also more chicken than I need, but that's how big the package was. So I will take whatever I don't need and we'll use it for something else this week. I'm now going to add potatoes. This is always so hard because I'm like, how do I do this and not have it splash up on me? Not have that hot liquid splash up. We'll do it this way. kind of like slide it down the edge of the pot. And we do want to bring this to a little bit of a boil and cook until the potatoes are tender. If you were not cooking the chicken, like the recipe I think I said this earlier, to sear it and then put it in the soup to finish cooking, you would add this in at this point too, but I'm just going to do the potatoes and get those nice and tender. All right, I just took the chicken out, so I'm just letting it rest for a bit before I cut it up. We are going to add in some cheese. I think this is Monterey, but I also just shredded up some cheddar because that was not enough, but I already had that shredded in the fridge. We will start stirring that around. I can tell this is gonna be so good. This would be good even without the chicken, you know? But I like to make it a little bit more hearty. I just grated this, so I'm just carrying it over. So yeah, this is some cheddar that I'm adding in. I pretty much only use Monterey and cheddar for like everything. I think it said like 1.5 cups, so I'm not sure if that was quite it, but. And then I'm just gonna use these bacon pieces, crumbled bacon. Buying this from Sam's Club. I might add what's left here. Let's see what this looks like. I don't know what is equivalent to 6 slices, I think is what the recipe had. I'm tempted to add broccoli to this because I like broccoli in soup, but that's pretty much what always happens when I make a soup. It ends up being like a creamy vegetable soup because I just add everything. Like I think I'm going to add corn because I have some in the fridge. This is leftover from tacos or something or other that we did the other day. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut up the chicken and add that. Let's give this a taste and see if we need to add anything. Because then I need to let this cool so that I can put it in the fridge. I'm trying to get a little bit of everything. I want a good bit of broth so I can see how it's seasoned. I got chicken dangling from my spoon. That is very good. I might add a little more red pepper flakes than I needed to. Has a little bit of kick, but I don't mind that. Take it off the heat because I need it to cool. And then when we have it tonight, we'll top with some more shredded cheese and bacon if we want. Good dinner. Love soup season. Who's with me? Do y'all love soup season? Because I love soup season. That is going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching and coming along for a little bit of a different style video. I meant the whole thing to be a vlog, but just the way I filmed it, it was either try to piece it together or scrap it. And I wanted to share those recipes with you, so I did not want to scrap it. So I hope that you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Say hello down in the comments. And of course, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.